Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode we did the last scenario by Terror's Martyr, and now we're moving on to another person. Goes by the name of Lazarus, who has done some scenarios. And the first one we're going to do, once again, I'm doing the whole thing where I'm doing scenarios I was told to do one before the other, and in this case it's another one that I've heard named a fair number of times before. Frostbite. I've heard it named alongside Canopy and Exodus and Basikava as one of those really good ones. Canopy I may disagree with because of that ending, and Exodus and Basikava were still very good, despite my frustrations. We'll see how Frostbite is, but I will say this, I did look in the README because I found you really should look in the README when doing this, and this scenario and the next one we're going to do, I've noticed that Lazarus is very specific with what you need to play for these things. For Frostbite, for example, he said, you just need to play a singleton party using this particular profile and this particular character model. And also, you need to make sure that the character is less than level 15, so you can use Prefab Party, and that's not getting into the next one, which actually goes into you need to change all the images and such that you have in the files. Oh boy, I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not yet. Anyway, we have this one character. He's going to be turned into the prefab character, but first, let's enter the scenario. Known as Frostbite. The Rim. Mentioning the name of Izar's highest mountain range calls two things to mind. One being the freezing temperatures and biting winds that will turn a man's blood to ice in an hour. It seems like every week some hunter meets his death here. Sitting in camp about a third way up the mountain, nearly 4,000 feet above sea level, you are beginning to feel why. The air is thin and it is hard to catch your breath. The wind is biting and cuts right through your heavy jacket. No sane person would come here voluntarily, but no matter how harsh the conditions are in an area, there are always some lunatics that make it their home. You wouldn't believe it if you hadn't passed through a small shepherding village in Manibor on the way here. This village may not show up on your household map, but it is the reason you are here. That and, of course, the second thing that most people think of when they hear about the Rim. Not all the disappearing hunters are caused by the cold. At least that's what a Highlander would have you think. They call them beasts of the Rim. They vary in shape and name from report to report, but are always called deadly. Regardless of what you call them, they are naught but fairy tales back in the warm air and sunshine of civilized lands. Here on the slopes of Mount Spire, this threat is all too real. Real enough to send a military team to deal with. Captain Ainsley headed that team. A team comprised of some old friends from Empire Unit 341, as well as some hitherto strangers. The team was sent out to Manibor, the speck on the map that anybody in his right mind would avoid if he could. You were relaxing in Stonehurst when Ainsley rounded up you and the rest of your unit. You asked him what it was that took you from the tavern music and sunny beaches where you should be spending your summer. He responded, "We have to hunt down the beast of the Rim." You laughed. So did Fabian and Marie. He wasn't joking. Now you hold your numb hands to the fire. There's nothing sunny about the Rim. The only music is the howling of the wolves, and the only beach is a small half-frozen creek on the bank of which your camp is pitched. Your name is Vincent Graff. This is the story of how you became a myth. Scenario by Lazarus. Contact me at yada yada. The suggested level for the scenario is level 15. To make an appropriate character, use your ability Prefab Party, which will set your skills and level appropriately. Please see the README for information on this and other topics. A singleton party is required. If you enter with more than one character, your party will be cut down to one. Your other characters will be killed in the process, so you should come with the right party if you don't want this to happen. You will also lose all spell levels at the start of the scenario. Please do not restore them in any way or by using the editor. This is to prevent a bug. Okay. Singleton ability. Let's see. Prefab Party. You are about to create prefabricated party or prefabricated singleton rather. This is highly recommended, but nonetheless I'll give you a warning. This will remove all your character's experience level, stats, and traits. It is advised that you enter the scenario with a brand new party, not one you've put work into. Keep in mind that combat is balanced with the assumption that you are using as party. Playing with any other level party won't give you the full effect. You want to proceed? Bring it. Good choice, you won't regret it. Alright. So we got a steel longsword, an overcoat, resistance to cold damage, iron-studded armor, winter boots, more resistance to cold, iron guard shield, fox fur gloves, more resistance to cold, fur cap, more resistance to cold, firebrand, cuts through the darkness, first aid kit, army rations. Alright, and icicle moss, mountain holly, frost shrooms, and corral blossoms. I've heard of these when I looked in the README. These are basically meant to, well, he has special potions here that we are able to do. Healing poultice, strength potion, potion of alacrity, rejuvenation potion, hardiness filter, dispel magic, choking dust, frost grenade, and 3 other possible ones. So that's the things we're able to make. I probably should make a few. Let me look. Okay, we have 10 extra skill points, but we do look pretty good. Okay, ignoring that. Well, we can level up, and I would like to give a bit more of some of these things. Especially endurance to protect me there. You know what, we should wait, just in case I need to do things. But maybe I should... Oh. Huh, there's no actual way to make these potions. Strange. Alright, let's talk to these people. Of the 5 newcomers to the group, only this man is an Empire soldier. You just met him yesterday when he joined the group in Manibor as planned. Captain Ainsley said the name of the man you'd be rendezvousing with was named James Every. For some reason, the name stuck in your mind. You're pleased to be able to address him by name when you introduce yourself. His reaction is just the opposite. I'd appreciate it if you'd call me Private Every. I went through how much training for that title, and I've taken injuries for the Empire. I think I deserve it. If he thinks to impress people by waving around the title Private, then he's in the wrong place. Why were you assigned to this mission? I was on injury leave in a hospital in Meriton. I'd suffered a wound in a scrape with some bandits. Quite disappointing, since that was my first mission out of basic training. Anyway, when I had recuperated from my injury, I was sent here to Manibor to meet up with Unit 341 to help you on your mission. Hopefully I can get back into the swing of things, get some successes on my belt. I bet. What skills do you bring to the mission? Well, I know you and your buddies are all used to fighting together, and the other newcomers all offer something really useful like knowledge of the area or woodcraft. I just have my halberd and my support. Oh, and I guess I have this too. He pulls out a black rectangular box from his knapsack and lays it across his lap. You noticed him carrying it gingerly while you were marching, but didn't think much of it. What's in the box? He rends it with embarrassment, but smiles when he opens the box. Oh, it's not a big deal, I just carry my flute in here. He turns the box towards you so you can see it inside. It holds a fine wooden flute. You asked him and he plays. Oh, I dabble. I took a few years in... However, you don't get to hear about the history of his music lessons because Fabian, who started looking on with interest when the box comes out, now interrupts. Well, what are you waiting for? Here we were, sitting in the dark with nothing to do, and all along we had a musician with us. Play us a tune. Every smiles embarrassedly and looks around for approval. It appears the woman next to him couldn't care less, which leaves you. Fabian looks at you expectantly as well. Play it for us. At Oren Fabian's urging, Every finally removes the flute from the case, sets his lips, and plays a few notes experimentally. Then he launches into a song. Despite his reluctance to play, he proves to be a good musician. The camp is soon filled with merry music, almost loud enough to drown out the howling of the wolves. Private Every puts down his flute to speak with you, which doesn't go over well with Fabian.
Hey, Vincent, let the man play. I'm trying to listen over here.
What do you think of the beast? I don't know. When I grew up back in Imperius, we never worried about any beasts, but over here it's a part of everyday life. I arrived in Maribor a week before you all caught up, so I got to spend some time with the natives. Let me tell you, they are absolutely terrified of this beast. During the day, they are as congenial as you could expect from a person living in a place like the Rim. But at night, everybody locks their door, and woe to you if you come knocking. When I told them that I intended to hunt the beast with you, I was treated like a hero, like a dead hero to be exact. I don't think anybody expects us to succeed. Have any of them actually seen the beast? The only person I met who said she did was an old woman living on the edge of town, which coincidentally isn't far from the center of town, who said she'd seen glowing eyes from the woods on the day one of the men went missing. Now, glowing eyes could really be anything, but she never doubted what it was she saw. Anyway, my point is that things are real different out here. We're a long ways from Stonehurst and a long way from civilized lands. Here in the sticks, a mountain man's wisdom is as valuable as what you see with your own eyes, on what 100 scientists from the capital say. City slickers like us come around here waving around our education and think we know better, then wind up dead. What do you think of the others in our group? Well, at the moment I feel like a bit of an outsider. Half of you know each other from soldiering together, and the rest are Manable natives, so they are all familiar. I'm just a guy coming off injury leave. But you all seem like a good bunch. I think it'll be an enjoyable trip. If it would stop snowing, that is. From the sounds of what I heard, it probably won't be. Your old friend Fabian grins at you from his place by the fire. You have fond memories of many an escapade that began with that very same smile. The light of the fire dances across Fabian's face, casting a red glow on his already ruddy visage. Just like him to sit so close. You've often wondered why your friend chose to become a soldier when more cushy careers fit his personality so much better. He claps you on the shoulder as you sit down beside him.
Oh, when it's cold out, there's nothing better than a good fire and a better friend. Pull up a mat and a flagon of ale. We have many hours to burn.
Perhaps it isn't only the fire making his face red. Who are you? Fabian looks at you like you've lost your mind.
Vincent, my man, something has gone to your head. It's either the booze or the cold, and I haven't seen you drink enough that you'd be forgetting your old soldiering pal.
What do you know about the mission?
Oh, I know as much as you. That is to say, I know what Captain Ainsley told us. Beast terrorizing a village, drags off a lumberjack and some farm boy. Now we are sent out to deal with it. Next thing you know, we'll be sent to hunt down the Yeti or trap the boogeyman. The whole beast thing is preposterous.
Where did Ainsley go to?
Oh, the captain, Scotty, and that newcomer all went scouting around the creek. I'm not sure what's so important that the captain went out himself. I just remember seeing that newcomer... was Jamie his name? Reporting to him when we were marching.
You remember that as well. Just after it happened, Captain Ainsley changed route to make for this campsite. Soon after, he and the other two scouts departed. Scott and Jamie were obvious choices to take. Jamie is a local scout, and Scott Ewit, though lacking the field experience of most trackers, more than makes up for it with book knowledge. Ainsley has long depended on Ewit's lore. It is, however, strange that Ainsley wanted to go scout personally. Apparently Fabian thinks so too. Why are we out here?
Because you and me, my friend, are grunts, and that is what grunts do. Grunts spend their summers freezing their asses off in the middle of nowhere, and they count themselves lucky that they aren't getting stuck in the gut with swords instead.
This is a favorite complaint of Fabian. Things wouldn't be this way if I were born a noble. Undesirables that could be avoided range from stale beer to watch duty. You aren't surprised that journeys to the Rim have been added to the list. What do you think of Manibor?
We spent only one day there, but I think I could have seen the whole village in just 1 hour. Some shepherds, some huts, some mud, and then the highlight, 2 huts put together to double as an inn and a town hall.
What do you think really killed those people then? Fabian gestures with his arm to indicate the woods around you.
Listen to these wolves and tell me that isn't what killed these folks.
Indeed, the cacophony of howling wolves fills the air. It's fairly unsettling.
But no, the reason those men got dragged away wasn't because they live in the middle of a wolf-infested forest. It's because some mythical monster nobody has ever seen. I'm sure Scotty and them will come back and say this beast is a perfectly mundane wolf or bear. Then we can kill one of the suckers and get out of here.
What do you think of the group's other members?
Oh, it's nice to be among familiar faces. The captain, Scotty, Oren, Sarge, and you, of course. And most of the newcomers seem like good enough people. Might actually be an enjoyable mission if it weren't so damn freezing. Must say, that hunter feller, Sir Rowley, just rubs me the wrong way.
He puffs up his chest in a surprisingly accurate, if a bit over-the-top, imitation of the pretentious local hunter that joined your party in Manabar.
Ah, my friends, you are in the presence of a knight of the middle of nowhere. I will do you a most wondrous service by accompanying you, for my knowledge of the area is great, and my spear arm greater.
Give me a freaking break.
Well, Fabian seems an interesting person. How about this woman here? A young auburn-haired woman sits by the fire. Her face would be pretty if her eyes didn't sag with exhaustion and her mouth wasn't seemingly frozen in a twisted frown. You can't even think of this woman's name. You know she's one of the locals that joined you yesterday, but she spent the whole day marching alongside Jamie, so you never spoke. Now Jamie has gone out scouting and she's sitting alone. You introduce yourself and offer you your hand, which she takes. She tells you her name is Adriana, and it suddenly hits you. This is the daughter of one of the men that were killed. No wonder her face looks ashen, you have yet to see her smile. Why have you joined us? 2 men from my village have been killed. One, Shepherd Eugene, was a friend of mine. When you live in such a small village, everybody knows everybody. A death like this hurts the whole community. Her face grows increasingly grim as she talks about the killings. She's almost grinding her teeth at this point. However, the second man's death holds special meaning to me. Lylem Stanton was my father, and the day that fell monster tore away from him from me, I swore I'd get my revenge. Can you tell us any details about the killings? Asking the daughter of one of the victims to recount the details of the incident was a fairly tactless thing to do, but Adriana takes it in stride. Her face grows even paler, if that's possible. The first killings were actually just sheep. The beast broke into several pens and dragged away our livestock. The shepherd stayed extra vigilant the next weeks, thinking it was just a lone wolf and could be chased off. That was when the beast got Eugene. He was out watching his flock after dark when everybody heard a cry. When we got to the scene, Eugene and 2 sheep were gone. Drag marks showed where they had been taken to the forest. After that, everybody boarded up after night, and nobody left the village if they could help it. My father, however, was a lumberjack and wasn't going to let anything keep him from his job. He never came back from one of his trips. Scouts found nothing but his axe and some bloodstains. I know the beast got him, but I have hoped to find him alive somewhere. Revenge on an animal. Is that really possible? Perhaps not, at least not in most situations, but the beast is different. It kills out of malice. It is cunning to the point of higher intelligence. I will kill it, not just to avenge my father, but to ensure it will never kill again. She pulls out a long dagger from beneath her jacket. You wouldn't choose a dagger to hunt a killer animal, but maybe she knows what she's doing. Can you describe the beast? I can't say I've ever seen the thing for myself, but I can relate to you the reports I've heard. Stories of the beast date back to before I was born, and the sightings nowadays can coincide with those from 30 years ago. It is agreed that the beast very much resembles a wolf, a hulking wolf with thick black fur, so thick that icicles grow on it. However, the beast is mammoth compared to your normal timber wolf, and although it runs on all fours for speed, it can reportedly stand on its back legs as well. And of course, everybody agrees that it is a savage and cunning creature, fearsome to behold and even more so to go toe-to-toe with. Sounds like we may be talking werewolf. Adriana is no more cheerful than the last time you spoke to her. Oh, hey, Vincent, I was just thinking about... Well, I do a lot of thinking at night. That's the hardest time for me. What was life in Matador like? I know what you think. Shepherding village in the middle of nowhere must be Dullsville. Well, it was Dullsville, but I loved it anyhow. Life was regular as clockwork. In the summer you hear the sheep, but in the winter you take them down the mountain to below the snow line. But now the beast has the village in a state of panic. Nobody will go outside, nobody will take the sheep out to pasture. We board up at night, and suddenly our cozy fires become our last line of defense against our mortal foe. The sooner we kill the thing, the sooner life can return to normal. Do you think the expedition will succeed? I don't really know. They say the beast can't be killed, but we have 11 warriors. Surely we could bring it down. First things first, we need to find it. Looks like we're on the right track. I'm not sure if you heard why Jamie and them went across the river, but I did. During the day's march, Jamie was ranging ahead to scout the way. When he returned, he went immediately to report to Ainsley. When I saw my friend was back, I went over to greet him and overheard his report. Seems he found footprints to the northeast. Massive footprints that he is not at all familiar with. That is why we took a detour towards here, and that is why Ewed went along for the next trip, to attempt to identify the prince. I'm not sure why Ainsley didn't tell the whole group what was happening. It's not like we don't already know what we're hunting. What do you think of the others in our group? Everybody here is from the outside world, which leaves Jamie and Sir Rowley as the only familiar faces. Jamie is about my age and a good friend, but he often leaves me alone to go scouting. Rowley? Oh, frankly, he's pompous and headstrong. When he first came to Manibor, we thought he was a great hero or something. Then we realized he was just an arrogant, showy hunter that used big words. Kind of fell out of favor when we realized he was all talk and no deeds. Alright, we've got a couple other people. Who's this? Guarding on the side. Oren has been wearing little more than a light leather tunic all day, and now he has taken even that off and stands shirtless in the snow. Just looking at your friend makes you shiver. He practices with dual broadswords. The heat his body generates from the rigorous exercise is enough to keep the hardy Highlander warm even in the cold mountain air. He twirls the swords lazily. Suddenly he lunges forward, delivering a mighty slash to the air, then dances back. Had there been an enemy there, it would be dismembered. You've seen it often enough to know. He turns to speak to you. Despite having marched all day, he doesn't seem at all fatigued.
Wonderful, isn't it?
He breathes deeply and surveys his surroundings.
Ah, it's good to be back in the Highlands. Isn't the air refreshing?
Are you crazy? Aren't you cold?
Are you forgetting, Vincent? I'm from the Highlands. I've been bathing in ice water since I was a boy. In the mountains there are 2 seasons, cold and colder. A summer day on Mount Spire isn't a problem. Good and chilly.
You can't understand how he does it, but you aren't surprised. Oren has long traveled in Unit 341 with you, and in that time you've never seen him wear a jacket. Even when keeping watch on the chilliest nights, he would never bundle up, much to his miserable comrades' dismay. Where'd you learn to use those swords? He hands you one of the broadswords for you to inspect.
The dual broadswords are the traditional weapons of the highest-ranking warriors in my clan, the Dire Wolves. I once held that rank, and even though I am no longer on Mount Arathat, I still bear my horn and my swords.
You hand the sword back to him. Really is a fine piece of craftsmanship, perfectly balanced and razor sharp. Why aren't you welcome in your homeland anymore?
I made mistakes, and I was banished for them. I did what I did, and what's done is done. That is the past, but I think finally returning to the Rim is a step towards reconciling with myself. This place may seem like a barren land to you, but it is my home, and it is good to be back.
Your normally tacit friend does seem inspired by the mountains. You never heard about his banishment, or any of these feelings he is expressing. What horn? He passed a battle horn at his side. It is made of the horn of a mountain ram, and has odd signs scrawled on it.
Well, surely you've noticed it. I've been wearing it for as long as I've known you, for as long as I've left my tribe. It is the horn borne by every wolf. They call its sound the howl of the wolf, and it strikes fear into the hearts of our enemies.
You've heard plenty of wolf cries on this journey, and if the horn sounds at all similar, you can see why it would. He raises the horn to his lips and inhales deeply to sound it. He hesitates, then slowly lets out his breath and replaces the horn on his belt.
No, it wouldn't be right. I was outcast for a reason. I will never again howl from the heights of the Rim.
Oren still stands shirtless. He seems immune to the cold.
Pull out your blade and go around with me. You were looking rusty last time I saw you hold a sword.
What do you think of the beast?
Reports of a deadly creature that preys on men, eluding with ease any efforts to hunt it. From a lowland mentality, it seems preposterous. But up here in the mountains, one can't just write off accounts like that. Natives of the Rim can tell you that up here, anything goes. The beast sure as hell wouldn't be the strangest thing I see.
So you think the beast is real?
Oh, I don't know. There are many accounts of strange creatures from the Rim. People suffering from hypothermia can mistake a wolf for a mythic beast, but more likely they hold some kernel of truth. I believe the reports are true, and I'll tell you why. I was on a hunting trip years ago when one of my tribesmen came across a mangled carcass of a bear with strange footprints all about it. One of the elders told us they belonged to the beast. We were a party 15 strong that day, but we fled as soon as we heard him say that. We should be on our guard. The creature we hunt now, the beast, or perhaps it's simply a mundane animal, who knows? Regardless, it is dangerous.
Do you think we'll succeed?
Well, Jamie's an excellent tracker. I spoke to him during the day's march, and he seemed very knowledgeable. Elwood, as we all know, has done as much research on cryptids as anyone else. And this other sage, Erasmus, doesn't seem like a slouch. Ainsley put together a good team. I suspect he and the scouts will return soon to tell us we are on the beast's trail. Then we'll know what it is we're up against.
Let me practice with you. Oren sheathes his deadly swords in favor of a nearby tree branch. Likewise, you pick up a branch and test it for balance and sturdiness. Your practice session is invigorating. You begin to see how Oren goes shirtless. You work up such a sweat that you actually pull off your scarf and outer jacket. You wouldn't go so far as to strip to bare skin, however. You fall to the ground, exhausted after your bout. Oren really gave you a workout. You were far outclassed in your fight and were beaten soundly, but feel like you've picked up some moves you could use. You slowly rise, feeling every burning muscle in your body. Perhaps exerting yourself like that wasn't such a good idea. You have a long march ahead of you. Oren is somehow unaffected. He soon resumes his sparring. Okay. I know that that's supposed to be more herbs. The moss growing here hangs down from the crest of the boulder in a distinctive triangular form, which gives the herb its name, icicle moss. You'll recognize it immediately as one of the hardy alchemical ingredients that can be found in these parts. You carefully scrape off one of the greener tendrils. This herb makes a useful catalyst in many potions. Alright. Well, there's someone over there. Walking back and forth. A tall, middle-aged man paces about the camp dressed in a red-dyed leather tunic, camouflage cape, and baggy black pants tucked into his steel-toed boots. He walks rigidly. Evidently nobody told him that you aren't marching anymore. With one hand, he twirls his mustache and straightens his hair. The other he holds out for you to shake. When you do, he bows and launches into his speech.
Vincent, if I'm not mistaken. I am Sir Roger Rowley. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
This is your first encounter with your party's newest member. You were marching out of Manibor when the fancy-talking, heavily decorated, straight-backed huntsman hailed you. He recognized that Captain Ainsley included him in your party. Ainsley decided to allow it, even though Rowley was not an Empire soldier or even assigned to the group. Hunting the beast is reportedly Rowley's life goal. He has offered to help you do so. How did you become Sir Rowley? Rowley puffs himself up, clearly happy to be talking about himself.
A very good question. An excellent question indeed. Humph! Well, since you asked, I'll tell you. In the days of my youth, I used to roam a Marian hunting fell beasts of every kind. One of my trophies was a manticore that had taken up residence in the imperial gardens of Solaria. Empress Prazak knighted me for my service.
Right. Why did you want to come along for the mission?
I have devoted the last 7 years of my life to hunting the beast of the Rim. The beast has claimed many a man's life, and the treacherous conditions of the mountain just as many. You have 2 scouts on your team who are knowledgeable in the area, but neither of them have tried tracking the beast before. I know how it acts. It is crafty and guileful. It will not be easy to find, let alone kill it.
So you actually believe in the beast?
Believe in the beast? There is no believing about it. I know the beast exists. I've seen its tracks, its blood, and its kills. If you don't think the beast is real, then you're a fool, and fools don't last long in the Rim.
Why haven't you been able to kill the beast?
Well, the beast is more intelligent than a normal animal. It evades traps and ambushes with a cunning I've never before seen. It rarely comes down from the heights of the Rim. This is the first time it has attacked a village. This means that to hunt the best, you must climb into the mountains and face the cold and dangers there. The beast always has home field advantage.
What do you think drove it to attack Manibor?
No, I can't be sure. The beast always hunts in the highest and coldest parts of the Rim. I and other hunters, however, have noticed that a recent cold spell has killed off lots of vegetation. The deer population, which constitutes most of the beast's prey, have moved down below the snow line to find food.
I believe the beast followed them down from the heights, and in doing so came across the human settlement. Where would you look for the beast? I usually roam the mountains, just as the beast does. I don't believe it has a permanent lair, which makes it hard to track down. Your best bet is to find tracks or a carcass of prey, then follow them for as far as you can. Captain Ainsley would have done well to take me with him on the scouting trip. However, he has forbid me from leaving the group, and I pledged to him that I'd abide by his rules as long as I'm journeying with you. He's making a mistake. Sir Rowley nods to you in greeting. What news of the beast? I hope the scouts find its location. What do you think of the other party members? Ainsley put together a good group. If this were a mission down in the plains, I know you and some of the other members are used to traveling together, but hunting in the rim is different. You need knowledge of the area and how to combat the conditions. Have you ever fought in the snow? I thought not. Most of your group will be way out of their element up here and next to useless. That Oren fellow is the only one who knows what he's about. I agree. Thanks for coming to help us out. Yes, with Jamie, Oren, Adriana, and of course myself, this expedition still stands a chance. This is why it frustrates me when Ainsley lays me out. My counsel would only help this expedition. So I imagined. Well, even though there's still more to talk to, this episode has gone on as long as it should. I mean, there's still a couple people to talk to. So, you know what? We'll do so in the next episode, because, like I said, this one's gone on long enough. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Vincent, this has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.